Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. My name is Venkat. Today we have with us actor Siddharth with us. Hello Siddharth.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Lovely. I'm like super excited for this interview because I remember watching you for the very first time in Nuvastanante Nenu Oddantana. I vividly remember the movie going experience. I think I was 7 or 8. It's 2023 and I'm sitting in front of you, so it's pretty magical in that sense. And I'm sure that even you, as an actor in your 20 long career, you must have experienced this magic, right? For instance, like you said, the very first salary that you got of 250 rupees was by Mr. Jayendra, who took you to dub for a commercial, and he directed you in this film called 180. And likewise, you debuted with the Boys, and Mr. Shankar's assistant Karthik is directing you in Takkar. Life is pretty magical in that sense. And how much do you believe in destiny, regardless of how hard you may try to control your career? What role does destiny have?
Destiny, I believe in timing, not even what we call as good time, bad time, just timing. I think being at the right place at the right time, sometimes it's really important, and so that whatever the right opportunity comes your way, you can take it. So I think that I was just at the right place at the right time, and as a result of that, I'm a very lucky person. Yeah.
Wow. So Siddharth, like even like a couple of months back, Nuvastanante Nenu Oddantana was re-released, and I'm pretty sure you must have seen that roaring response. And obviously, and in Telugu, like we always and there was this video of you vibing with Trisha in the at the Ponniyin Selvan audio launch that went viral. Regardless of how hard you're trying to reinvent yourself with each project, but people somehow still seem to be loving what you've done like 15 years ago or 18 years ago, right?
I think I like to look at it as that people can love me for many reasons. I'm a very gifted and lucky actor, where after 20 years, some people like me because of the love stories I've done. Some people like me because I'm a good actor. Some people like the way I look. Some people think I'll do something different in a different film. So I just take it as a positive that um, I was lucky to be part of really good films in the beginning of my career. And as far as romantic films are concerned, they do have a longer lifespan for characters. In other films, you'll remember the hero who did the role, but in the love story, you remember the characters. So that's the magic of films like the ones that you mentioned.
And obviously you were synonymous with romance when you started out, right? I mean, there is even a funny dialogue in this film called Badshah, where Junior NTR says that this actor called Siddharth has romanticized the idea of relationships so much that it's no longer connected with reality. And obviously it's a joke. But over the years, like we have seen that the portrayal of relationships has changed a lot. I mean, like even in Takkar, there is a dialogue where the female lead is saying that if you want sex, maybe we'll just do it and get away with it. How do you look back at how the discussion around relationships has evolved over the years?
I think I did very well with romantic films because I always believe that for a romantic film, the heroine's character is very important. And in all of my films, the hero and heroine will always be equal. And the second thing is that as far as this film is concerned, the relationship is interesting because the female character is very interesting. And so the attitude that a girl says, if you want to have sex, just do it and forget it. ఈ పెళ్లి వెళ్ళి నా పెళ్లి గురించి నాతో మాట్లాడదు. So I think it's an attitude that today's so girls' attitude is reflected by that. This film is interesting because these two characters are both very different from each other. But when they meet, something happens. That chemistry, that combustion, that spontaneous, energy that's created. That's what is very unique about this film. So I like films that address relationships the way they happen in real life. Because it's not about having unrealistic relationship goals set in the film. No?
Are relationship dramas like one of your favorite genres, or how do you look at genre?
I actually said I will never do a romantic film again many years ago because I was tired of doing only romantic films. Because I became an actor because I don't like to do the same thing again. Otherwise, I would have become a working MBA. I would have worked selling something in a company where I do the same job every day.
Right.
But I wanted to do something different every day. That's why. And then I got bored of doing romantic films. They might be fun for the audience after 20 years to keep remembering, but it's not. It's all right. It's like a regular film, but I got bored of doing the same film again and again. So relationships are important. I don't want to do films only about relationships.
Right.
But in a film, if there's a relationship, then it should be based in a uniqueness that this film is. And Karthik is a director who creates very unique commercial moments. You know, he doesn't think like other people. He thinks for a big screen. He thinks for 500 people watching a film together.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed that.
What's one part of filmmaking or acting, not acting because you're also a singer and a producer. If you have to like rank the facets of filmmaking that you're involved in, what's the least enjoyable one for you?
Enjoyable, again, it's a personal thing, right? So everybody knows I'm scared of dancing. So for me, the least enjoyable part of shooting is dancing. But I enjoy watching dance choreographers do their magic. So, you know, I've worked with all the best masters, Prabhudeva, Shobi, Raju Sundaram, Dinesh, Brinda Master, everybody I've worked with, Farah Khan, you know, we've seen Ganesh Acharya, all these great choreographers. So I love their job, but I'm scared of dancing. So my least favorite part is that. But cinema is a lot of hard work, and actors do the least work according to me, because everybody has to do their work continuously so that the actor can do his job once. That's how the industry is. And so I'm very grateful that, you know, people do their jobs. But having said that, I like being on a film set. I love being in direction department. I love being a producer, and I love music. So I like being part of the music of my films. The toughest part of cinema, according to me, is writing, which is why you have very few writers. You have everybody for everything else, but there are very few writers. So writing is the toughest thing.
Siddharth, like you have always spoken about, as artists, they tend to put their own personality into their creations, right? But do you think the restrictions of the mainstream filmmaking space, like the need to cater to the audience, the need to make a film that, say, everybody of all ages are going to enjoy, when you're making something for a very wide audience, because that's what mainstream is about, do you think there is space to put your personality into that creation?
See, as far as this, I'm an actor in this film, so my personality is not in this film. In fact, this is the opposite of my personality. So Karthik wanted me to play somebody who's not like me at all. So this character is obsessed with money. I'm not obsessed with money. This character will do anything to make money. I will not do anything if it's against my principles. So we are very different people. So the director has to put his personality on the film. So till I direct my own films, I don't think I'll have a problem with that. Secondly, I think what is mainstream is, I mean, I've made mainstream films my whole life. You spend 100 rupees, you make 101 rupees, you're a successful mainstream film. So I think the audience needs to be given something different and something interesting. And so that's what we try to do.
Okay. Over the past 20 years, over the past 2 decades, you must have like met so many people while making films, like listened to so many stories. After 20 years, how do you judge a filmmaker when they come with a script to you or give a narration?
So if you take my first interview after Boys, somebody said, how will you choose your next film? I said, I have 3 reasons. When I listen to a script, I think of 3 questions. First, the story I heard, do I want to watch this story as a film? Second, do I think I will do a good job as the actor of this film? Third, will I learn something new in this film? If the answer to these 3 questions is yes, I have done a film. So 20 years later, it's the same thing. So when I heard Takkar, first question, do I want to watch this movie in the theatre? Hell yes. Will I suit this film? I think I'm really good in this film, but you have to see the film, and a critic will have his own opinion, audience member, each individual person is a critic, so they'll have their own opinion. But the third thing, will I learn something new? I've learned a ton of new things on this film.
Like, can you share a couple?
Yeah, I had to train for martial arts in this film. I've done stunt sequences with the Vietnamese stunt crew, which I've never done before. There's a car stunt scene sequence in the film, which is very, very new for our cinema. So I've done a lot of stunt driving myself. I've done a lot of there's actually the old car in this film. This is a major character in the film. So there's stuff that you have to see that I've tuned the way I work, because I enjoy what Karthik has tried to create. And in this film and in the next film that I'm working with Karthik, he tries to show me differently to me. So that's my biggest takeaway from this film, because that person doesn't even look like me, leave alone he doesn't think like me or act like me. So I get excited when I see another version of me with my craft in a film. So yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. So 5 years ago, before the release of Aval, you gave a statement that I absolutely love. It's absolutely pretty bold, and you just broke the glass, saying that we as a country celebrate mediocrity, and there is very little space for excellence. 5 years later, the pandemic, OTT, a lot has changed. Do you think we are a step closer towards pursuing excellence, and maybe a step far from mediocrity?
No, I think we are exactly where we were 5 years ago. And we'll be here only for a long time. Difference will come from individuals. Where tomorrow the audience member, if there's a group of 5 people who are going to watch a film, which film should we watch? They know which film they're going to choose. And after they see that film, if it's a bad film and they still watch it again, then there's something wrong with us. In that group, if one person says, I don't want to watch this film, let's go watch this film, that group will change. So similarly with filmmakers, if we keep making the same films again and again, you'll make the same film again. If you try to make something different, you'll try to make something different. So every film is difficult to make. So, you know, I think the struggle is real, and post-COVID, the fact that people are coming to theatres to watch films is an amazing development, you know, because there's a lot of us who still believe in theatrical cinema.
Yeah.
You know, just like 20 years ago, everybody who has a phone became a critic, no? Like that today, everybody who has a phone is watching a movie like that. It's become like that. So, it's just democracy, but it comes at a cost. So, the theatre is a nice place for people to come and watch larger-than-life entertainment. And this particular film is made for that audience.
For theatrical.
It's a pure theatrical film. It's an adrenaline rush film.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm sure you'll watch it after release. You can watch it on TV or OTT when it comes out, but I would not miss it in the theatres. That's where this film should be seen.
Do you believe in this notion that only theatrical will generate stars?
It's not my place to say, man. Some people say I'm an actor. Some people say I'm a star. I don't care. I get to work. I work every day of my life. So as long as it's going well, it's going well. And I believe that theatrical films should be watched in the theatre. There are some films that you don't need to watch in the theatre, that the filmmaker also knows. Again, by theatre, I mean you should watch it on a good system, but you don't have to go and watch it with 800 people. But some films you'll have more fun when you watch with 800 people. So I think whether they make stars or not, the experience of watching films together is what makes theatre going fun.
Speaking of theatre and the beauty of watching a film in theatre, do you remember the very first time you saw yourself on the big screen?
Obviously. So I saw Boys, and before, you know, but more than that, I remember before I became an actor, the last film I remember watching in the theatre was Devdas.
Okay.
And I saw Shah Rukh sir's face on the screen and how big it was in a close-up. And I was amazed. I was so scared that my face would be that big. Because, you know, when something is so big, how can you, you know, get away with all your mistakes? So that time we didn't know whether we look good or look bad or anything. So yeah, it was the first time I saw myself on a screen was in Chennai in a theatre. And unforgettable experience. But more importantly, I also remember the first time I needed security to leave a theatre.
Okay.
Which was Nuwastan in Dantana.
Wow.
Where there was a huge mob that had formed to see me, and you know I had to be escorted out of the theatre. So if you remember those times, were the first time when people see you as a star or whatever, it's unforgettable.
As a producer, what do you enjoy the most about putting a film together?
As much as enjoy, I think the biggest challenge for all of us filmmakers today is, like, you start wanting to make a film, and then you're making the film. Then you post-produce the film for 8 months, and you release the film. Whenever you release the film. When you started to make the film, you wanted to make a certain kind of film. From that day till the film is watched by an audience, every Friday new films release. Every month something new happens in the media. So the filmmaker starts to get or is made to think about, this film ran this week. Should we take something about this film and put it into your film? This person is running, this trend is running. Should we get this trend into your film? And many filmmakers take whatever just to, you know, under the pressure. But then there are filmmakers who stick to what they set out to make. Like you came to ask me some questions. Then 4 people asked me questions before you. If you listen to those questions and changed your questions, you will ask me something different from what you came to ask me.
Exactly.
But you're looking at your thing saying, I came to ask these questions, I will ask these questions. I want filmmakers to do this. Not get confused every Friday with the new hit and the new trend. Make the film you wanted to make. So I know that Karthik Krish, this is exactly the film he wanted to make.
Wow.
He has not changed one thing in this film because it's trendy or anything. He knows why he's making it. Ee scene lo ikkada chappalu kodtaru. People will clap here. Ee scene lo this will excite this crowd. This will get, it's a commercial package.
Right.
So that I feel is great about this film. I like it when filmmakers stick to their conviction and make the film they want to make. And just like I like that you're asking the questions you came to ask.
Okay, thank you. And speaking about filmmaking, it's not an easy job, right? A lot of things have to fall into place. Like, first of all, to begin with the script, the actors, the dates, the combinations of actors, there is a lot of coordination and logistics. And with Takkar, you have had your share of challenges, the delay and all these things. So, as a producer or as an actor, how much do you try to keep the project in your control? Is that even possible when you're making a film to keep it in control?
How much of your life is in your control?
It's very,
very little, no?
yeah,
Same.
it's influenced.
Same. You can't control everything of everything. So, as far as this film is concerned, in cinema, it's just a miracle we still work in films. It's just about knowing what you want to do and sticking to it and not getting confused. And, I come as a producer from selling price minus profit is cost price. That's the budget of the film. You cannot spend more than that. So, only if you know your outs can you know what your in should be. So, Takkar is a film. Karthik is a director who's very strong with large logistical setups, big action set pieces.
Yeah.
So we've done 4 huge action set pieces in this film. Those cost a lot of money, but they've been done very well. And they're done for the right reasons. And tomorrow when they work in the theatre, it's all wells that ends well, So to answer your question, you can't control anything. You can only be professional. You can go prepared. But anything can happen, no? Murphy's Law, whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
What's happening on the production front?
No, my next film after this is our home production, which was announced by Arun Kumar's film. So that is a very, very important film in my career, and it's one of my favorite projects as an actor, as a producer, everything. So yeah, I'll be back with that in 2 months to talk about it. But
okay,
if I'll be having multiple releases in the next 6 months, so I'll be back quite often.
That's really good to know. I'm gonna ask you about some of your films that I personally like. These are not the Bob Marilus or the Koncham Ishtam, Koncham Kashtam or the Boys, which are obviously celebrated by everyone. These are films, these might not have done well, but I'm pretty sure you must have had a takeaway or learning from that film, which must have helped you in the longer run, for sure. So we'll start with the first film. It's OE.
OE is again a very special film, also a cult film.
Yeah, music.
Which today, a lot of people asking for re-release. I said more people should have gone and seen the film when it came out in theatres. But when OE came out, there were some people who in those days were called critics. I've got all the stuff they wrote. It was such hateful and negative reviewing was done for that film. So, whether people did not go to see the film because of somebody else selling them, I don't know. But it was a very beautiful film, and my friend Anand Ranga made it. And the film's music is very close to us because Yuvan Shankar Raja worked very closely with me in that film. And as a film to make, it was an unforgettable film. And today I saw the film a few months ago, and it's still a very beautiful film.
Yeah, I love the final shot of the film where the camera just
it's a very pretty film. So like I said, every film has a destiny. So maybe OE's destiny was that throughout history, people will keep calling it OE and remembering it. That's all.
Are you a fan of this concept where people don't watch the films when they release and maybe 10 years later they call it
It's
underrated?
my job. I'm the wrong person to ask. I think everybody should watch every film because filmmakers only want that. So I can only hope that I make a good film. What people do, I don't have any control over. You're saying we don't have control over what we do. So what are we going to control audience behavior?
180.
180 was a film I did with my mentor, Jayendra sir. And it was a very difficult performance. It's a film I'm incredibly proud of. It's India's technical marvel. It was one of the first films shot on the digital camera that was done properly and looked like an international film. The music by Sharad sir was outstanding, and photography by Balasubramaniam was also outstanding. So it was a very satisfying film. I learned a lot from that film.
Udayam NH4.
NH4 was Vetrimaaran's film, and it was a big hit in Tamil. And I don't fully understand why it didn't do the same kind of traction here, but As a film, it's a very tight film, good action film, much less action than in this film, but still a slightly rugged character, interesting space.
Now that you spoke about NH4 doing better in Tamil than in Telugu, as someone who has seen stardom in both the languages or being an actor in both the languages, do you think there is a difference in the way
There's no difference.
People process?
See, when an actor acts, there's no difference between when the camera doesn't know whether you're acting in Tamil or Telugu. So similarly, audience and all, some films will connect, forget language. In the same city, you go to different theatre, it will connect differently. You take your bike and go to another theatre, it will be different.
Right.
So obviously, there'll be some other salient differences, but the audience is the audience. They sit and they'll watch the film. If they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it. That's all. So there's no difference in that.
Okay. And my next pick is, because you stated that you loved working with, you loved doing a Deepa Mehta film as much as doing a Sundar C film. You treat cinema with the respect, with equal respect, regardless of the kind of cinema. So, Thiya Velase Kumar.
No, again, beautiful comedy film. I learned a lot from working with seasoned comedians. Brahmanandam sir did the Telugu version. Santanam in Tamil. So lots to learn. Sundar C is a very fun person he has a very different approach to life in cinema.
Midnight Children.
The Midnight Children, very important film. Salman Rushdie, Deepa Mehta. Two people I learned a lot from. People I grew up worshipping. So great to work with them.
Chashme Badur.
Chashme Badur, again, David Dhawan, incredibly fun person. He's a great editor. So I learned how he edits his scenes while he's shooting a film. So it's something new to people. Don't expect to hear technical craft from David Dhawan, but he's an FTI editing person and he's very good with his job. So learned a lot from him about how to create comedy in your head and then out with your actors.
Lovely. Final question. In 2023, going to film is actually a commitment for the viewer, right? It takes physical effort, to be honest, to get out of the house, like get a cab or travel, go there, sit, pay the parking fees. Especially when we have so many choices at our fingertips. So if you had to say why someone would take that effort to watch something like Takkar in a theatre, how would you sell it?
Takkar is a film made for theatres, and also I don't believe that going to the theatre is very difficult and all, because when KGF 2 came, everybody and their families went and saw KGF 2 multiple times. So it's like saying everybody can start complaining that theatres so far, it's so expensive, but that doesn't stop good films from running. So this is a good film. If you like the big screen experience, you want action, you want romance, you want good songs, this is the kind of film that theatres were made for. That's why this is made for theatres. Because this needs a big screen, it needs lots of sound, it needs people clapping around you. So Takkar is a fan film. So I'm very excited for it to be my first
mass.
Going. Again, I don't know what that word means. I know what a fan film means, where if people like me, they will love what I'm doing in this film. And the second is, it's a theatrical film because if people like action, they'll be thrilled. So it's got both of those things. So it's a very, very mainstream, universal, everybody will like this film kind of film.
Lovely. I'm looking forward to watching it on the big screen on June 9th.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.